No, I don't think Tsunoda's overrated. I mean, we have to remember, he is just a rookie. And he's only had like 4 races in Formula One so far. And he actually had a pretty good start to the season in Bahrain. He finished P9 after starting, I think he started P13. So, I mean, right off the bat, he showed the potential that he has in Formula One. Unfortunately, since Bahrain, he has fallen off the track a little bit. He's been well off the pace of Gasly in qualifying and on race pace. And he's also made some key errors like his crash in Imola and his Q1 performance in Spain. But, most rookies do struggle to find their pace in the early days. That being said, though, I do think there are a few key reasons that Tsunoda himself has been struggling, and reasons that are unique to him, at least at this point. And one reason for his struggles could be in part due to his driving style. Tsunoda himself says that he uses a very attacking and aggressive driving style, which implies that he's constantly on the edge and pushing the car to its limits. So he may be overdriving the car a little bit, and that may be causing him to make some minor mistakes, and sometimes not so minor. I mean, we saw that in Spain where he didn't actually drive that bad in Q1, but I think he was definitely overdoing it, and that's what caused him to miss out in Q2. While we're in the conversation of Spain, there was actually a really good conversation that Martin Brundle had with Lewis Hamilton at the Spanish Grand Prix about going fast in qualifying. And in that conversation, Hamilton spoke about the balance of pushing the car to the limit while at the same time giving the car some space to guide itself through the corners and not over exerting the car and trying to make it go faster than it is actually capable of. So when a 7-time world champion is talking about the limit before, the limit on how aggressive you can be before you start to jeopardize your lap time, it's pretty safe to say that he knows what he's talking about and that he's right. So with that conversation in mind, Tsunoda might just need to slightly adjust his driving style to a more relaxed position to extract more out of that car. But, at the same time, he also needs to remember that he's not in a Mercedes or a Red Bull or a McLaren, and that realistically, that car is not getting onto the second row of the grid or even the third row. I mean, at best, it can get onto the third row of the grid. So I think he just needs to focus on extracting as much out of that car as possible, but not too much. But that also leads pretty well into what I think the second reason for his struggles are, and that I think is his unrealistic expectations on himself. I mean, if we look at Tsunoda's last 2 years in Formula racing, he had a fantastic year in Formula 3 and a fantastic year in Formula 2. I think he finished 1 point behind Callum Eilert last year, which was really impressive. And he was only 10 or 15 points behind Schumacher as well, which was, now that I think about it, the closest Formula 2 championship we've had in years. Because I think in 2017, Charles Leclerc ran away with it. 2018, I think it was George Russell who ran away with it. 2019, De Vries ran away with it completely. So last year was an extremely close championship, and he did really well. So, after 2 really successful years, he probably came into Formula One with some pretty high expectations for himself. And I don't think he was expecting the gap to his teammate to be quite as big as it is. And he's also had some troubles adapting to the car, as we saw in Spain, where in his post-race interview, or post-qualifying interview anyways, he seemed very confused about his lack of pace. So, this might go hand in hand with his driving style as he overcompensates a little bit and tries to put himself and the car a bit higher up on the grid than he's capable of. But it's not really the end of the world for Tsunoda. I mean, like I said before, he is just a rookie, and no one's really expecting him to just jump in the car and outpace Gasly immediately. So I think he just needs to tone it down just a little bit. And speaking of toning things down, I think his temper is definitely getting in the way of his ability to perform. Now, it's unfortunate because I think his temper is extremely exciting and entertaining to watch, because or most Formula One drivers have so many restrictions on what they can say, and he will too eventually. But it's just nice to see someone who's unhinged and unapologetic about what they say. He gets so angry, and it's actually really entertaining, which he'll definitely calm down on in the next couple of races, because I think AlphaTauri's having a PR nightmare with him at the moment. But as entertaining as it is to watch, I think it's definitely getting in the way of his ability to perform. I mean, ask any athlete or driver that getting frustrated under the pressure to perform only leads to mistakes and a decrease in performance. So he really just needs to focus on remaining cool, calm, and collected. And I think it'll benefit him so much, because he gets angry so easily. I mean, we saw in, I think, free practice in Imola, he was just stuck in traffic and he was losing his mind. So he just needs to calm down a little bit. But that being said, if those really are the reasons that Tsunoda's been struggling, I think it's going to take him a little bit more than half a season to really adapt to Formula One, because those issues, like his driving style, his temper, his expectations could be toned down pretty quickly. I think it'll humble him relatively fast. But his his driving style and his temper are two very difficult things to change, especially now when he really needs to. So it's going to be tough for him, but it's a good opportunity for Tsunoda to show his adaptability as a driver, and I think he'll succeed. I think by halfway through the season, he'll definitely be on Gasly's pace, if not just a little bit behind him. I can't see him really overtaking Gasly or surpassing Gasly too soon, but I definitely think it's possible. And I really hope he does well. I want everyone in Formula One to do well. I don't want to see him struggle. So hopefully at Monaco, he improves quick, and shows and extracts as much out of that car as he can, because he's definitely capable of doing so, which makes me think of it as well.